Today we're looking at the strangest TikTok simulation videos that prove we live in the Matrix. And I've done this reaction format before, and you all seem to like it. So let's kick it off with this first clip. Roll it.
You're saying that we should be able to upload our consciousness?
Yeah, the technology will exist to upload your consciousness onto a computer. That's true immortality. That's the closest thing you'll get to true immortality. It's probably going to become a very natural path for most humans.
What would it even be uploaded into? Like a cloud?
Yeah, it'd be uploaded to a cloud.
Do you think that you can experience life by uploading your consciousness to a cloud?
Eventually, yeah, if you uploaded and then you could download to a humanoid robot, then you would experience the real world like any other world. Or you could continue in some kind of simulated universe, play a video game in the cloud kind of thing.
What do you think happens when you die?
Elon always talks about we live in a simulation. As AI has gotten better at better simulating the world, it's making me think more and more that we probably live in a simulation.
That guy is Alexander Wang, one of the youngest billionaires in the world. So now all of these rich people believe we live in a simulation as well, huh? Well, this next clip is so freaky. If it's true, it's almost guaranteed proof that we're living in a simulated reality.
Are you ready to hear one of the craziest historical coincidences of all time? King Umberto I of Italy was going through the small town of Monza when he decided to stop at a nearby restaurant to get something to eat. When the owner of the restaurant came out to take the king's order, they both stared at each other in shock because they looked exactly identical. Not only that, both of their names were Umberto. Not only that, but both of them were born on the same day, in the same year, in the same town. And if that's not crazy enough, both of them married women by the name of Margarita. The day that King Umberto was crowned and had his coronation was the same day that Chef Umberto opened his restaurant. So blown away by these similarities, these two gentlemen decide they should meet up again. The day they were going to meet up, though, unfortunately, the king was assassinated. But even if he wasn't assassinated, they wouldn't have been able to meet up. You know why? Because the same day he was assassinated, the chef also died in a completely unrelated shooting accident. Now, how's that for coincidence?
That was uncanny. Anyone who doesn't believe we're not inside a computer program, how do you explain that? This next clip, though, gives a great explanation of the double slit experiment, which is key in understanding the nature of reality. Here it is.
I fell down a rabbit hole the other day, bro.
What happened, bro?
There was an experiment that was done in like the 1900s that kind of proved that we could be living in a simulation.
Okay.
So the experiment was called the double slit experiment, right? They had a slit, they sprayed particles at it, and it went on like a wall, and it made like the slit. And then if you put two, it makes two slits. But then they did it with electrons. If you put it through one slit, it makes one slit. But if you put it through two, it will spread out. It won't be two, it'll be like 10. So they decided to watch it, right? And the electrons did what it was supposed to do when everybody was looking. But if it's not being observed, it's spreading out. But that's equivalent to like, you know, when you play video games and there's something far away and we can't see it. And it's because it's not rendering. So they're trying to say like, that's how it is in real life. Like say we're interacting with this right now. Like we're interacting with my room, I'm interacting with you. All the electrons are doing what it's supposed to. But say we leave this room, it's not going to do that.
It's not going to do that?
It's not going to do that. And I remember somebody was saying like, you always see everything in front of you. Like imagine like everything behind me is not there until I turn around and interact with it. Now I see it and it renders in.
But think about it though. I'm seeing what's behind you.
Because it's in front of you.
Whatever is in your vision
is rendered in because you're looking at it. Just like with the electrons, if you're looking at it, it's going to do what it's supposed to do. But say you're not looking at it, like I can't see behind me right now, but you can see it because it's just your point of view. It's like there might not be nothing behind, like it's not rendered in.
So there you go. Now you understand the double slit experiment. Reality is only rendered when there is an observer. Now, the great quantum physics minds of the early 20th century were shocked to learn this. And Niels Bohr, who's one of the top, actually said anyone who is not shocked by quantum theory has not understood it. And the history of quantum physics is one of my favorite subjects to read about, and perhaps the best author to check out on this subject is Michio Kaku. I have a few of his books, and he does a great job explaining it. Moving on to the next clip, this one shows that the AI revolution of robots will be taking over our life soon. I guarantee it. Check this out.
1X Technologies says its new Redwood AI model helps humanoid robots walk into any home and start helping immediately. The startup, which was founded in 2014 in Norway and is now headquartered in Sunnyvale, shared this footage shot in Redwood, California, to showcase the new capabilities. According to the startup, the Redwood neural network enables this Neo-Gamma robot to pick up objects it's never seen before, even in new places and messy environments. The 160 million parameter transformer model combines vision, touch, and body movement data. It's trained on a mix of teleoperated and real-world actions from its Neo and Eve humanoids. It runs fully on board, with no cloud connectivity needed. The startup says the model is early in its development but improving thanks to real-world data collection. The startup plans to scale production of its next-generation robots in 2026, with a goal of manufacturing 100,000 units by 2028 and scaling into the millions from there.
Wow. 10 years from now, robots are going to be ubiquitous in our society, and let me tell you something. It's coming. Hey, I'm going to be living alone and unmarried forever. I could feel safe predicting that, so I could use some help cleaning up and doing the dishes now and again. And I could see a use for robots like that, but then again, you know, that's just too much like a real person. It would be a little too freaky, so I think I'll continue to do my own housework. Hey, check out this clip here of a lady being stuck in reality.
Proof we are living in a simulation. Part 2.
What do you all think about this clip? Is it real or is it fake? You know, I watched it a half dozen times and it looks like real cell phone footage, and you could see the video is actually unstable. The person was moving the phone and everything in it is moving together, even that lady. So I'm not sure what to make of this one. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments. Here we have a similar video, but it's of a plane in the sky, these stuck planes. Here, check it out. Do you think that plane was really standing still? Some people believe it's the parallax effect. Now, I don't know about that. Watch this video here and let me know what you think. It's another one of these videos.
Hey, y'all gotta see this video, man. When I tell you this matrix is breaking down, it's breaking it down. Look at this plane, man. This thing is stuck in mid-air. This is in Naples, Florida. This was just yesterday, y'all. All right, now I'm gonna run it back so you can watch the whole video, okay? Watch this.
That fucking plane is stuck in the sky. Bro, what the?
Look, it's not going anywhere. Look, look, the trucks are moving, but it's staying, look, not going anywhere.
Bro, and the lights blinking.
Look, I've seen planes move all my life in the sky. I'm very interested in planes. I'm always looking up, and that definitely does not look like a parallax effect. Now, this next clip exemplifies the whole idea of nested simulation, and basically the thought that a simulation can create a simulation, And this was created by a new program called Veo 3. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it by now. But notice how lifelike these people are.
Hey, quick question. Do you think you're just a prompt?
Heck yeah, bro. I've been knowing this since childhood. The normies are finally waking up.
Oof. Yo, bro, be real. You think we're all just prompts?
I mean, honestly, yeah, I do, bro. Like, you can just tell life doesn't feel real. It's always the same thing on repeat.
Damn. Hey, beautiful. Do you think we're all just prompts?
You think I'd be here restocking Clorox if I was just a prompt?
You have a point, pretty. Hey, y'all ever think your arguments might be prompts?
Yo, that has to be it. That's why we argue all the time.
He must be prompted to cheat then.
Ma'am, real quick, Crane, you believe in prompt theory?
Baby, I've been off prompt since 2009. They tried to prompt me into a 9-to-5 and 3 baby daddies. I said, no way.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do you believe in prompt theory?
Me, Joe, I don't got time for theories. I got 6 grandbabies and a slip disc.
So you're not prompted to say that?
Sir, do you believe in prompt theory?
Well, I taught for years. At least half of my students were definitely NPCs.
Yeah.
This is real, though. You can feel it.
Hey, beautiful. You believe in prompt theory?
I don't know. Like, maybe?
Wow. After watching that, I can tell you we're all screwed. If we can no longer tell the difference between real people and AI constructs, any of us can be fooled at any time. It's quite scary. And what you're seeing of it now is the worst version it will ever be, meaning it's only going to get better. While in this next clip, Nick Bostrom explains his original simulation argument paper that came out in 2003. And it contains 3 propositions. If the first 2 are false, then we're almost certainly living in a simulation. Take a look.
To understand this, imagine you have a bag filled with 1,000 red balls and only 1 blue ball. If you randomly pick a ball, it's much more likely to be red than blue. Similarly, if there are many simulated realities but only one real reality, chances are we're in one of the simulations.
A lot of people have proposed that as a possibility. The whole premise of the Matrix or anything like that is that just as we can build simple virtual realities today with simple simulated creatures living inside them, maybe in the future with vastly more powerful computers, you could build more complex virtual realities with more complex simulated creatures inside them. Maybe these creatures could be complex enough that they would actually have brains like ours simulated down to the level of individual neurons and synapses, such that the inhabitants of these simulations would be conscious. But what the simulation argument adds to that is that instead of just stopping at the question of how could you ever prove with certainty that we're not in a simulation ourselves, the simulation argument tries to establish a constraint about what we can believe, and it tries to show that one of 3 possibilities is true, although it doesn't tell us which one of them it is. Now, in a sense, this sounds more radical even perhaps than some of the multiverse theories. In another sense, it's less, because it doesn't presuppose any unknown physics. So we're just assuming that it will be possible to build computers that are much more powerful in the future. So what the simulation argument tries to show is that one of 3 possibilities is true. The first one is that almost all civilizations at our stage of technological development go extinct before they become technologically mature. Technologically mature meaning having developed all those technologies we can currently show are physically possible, given only uncontroversially obtainable physics. Big computers the size of planets and stuff, we can calculate what performance they would have. We can't build them now, but so first possibility is people at our stage, they just failed to get through to that level of technological maturity. Maybe they destroy themselves on the way. Second possibility is that almost all civilizations that do reach technological maturity lose interest in creating these kinds of ancestor simulations, as I call them. These would be detailed computer simulations of people like their historical predecessors. So they have these powerful computers, they have the ability to program them, but they have better things to do with their computers in their time. And the third possibility is that we are almost certainly living in a computer simulation. And the argument, in its full version, it requires some probability theory, but the gist of it can be grasped quite simply and intuitively. So if you imagine that the first 2 possibilities do not obtain, that means some non-negligible fraction of civilizations at our stage do reach technological maturity, and some non-negligible fraction of those, are interested in creating these ancestor simulations. They devote some non-trivial fraction of the resources to this end. You can then show that there would be many, many more ancestor simulations than there would be original courses of history. Because if you calculate the computing power that a technologically mature civilization would have, and the computing power that would be required to simulate all human brains, it turns out that the latter quantity is a tiny, tiny fraction of the former. So, in other words, by devoting a tiny fraction of their computational resources to this end, they could create astronomical numbers.
There you go. Interestingly, Tom Campbell came out with his book the same year that Bostrom came out with his simulation argument. Coincidence? Maybe not. Well, I've got one more clip to show you. This last clip shows the same guy from the first clip, except he tells an incredible story that would have to be a 1 in a billion chance. Watch.
Crazy story time. In 2001, a little girl was standing in her front yard when she decided to release a red balloon into the sky. Before doing so, she wrote a note on it. It said, "Please return to Laura Buxton," and she wrote her phone number on it, then let it go. That red balloon traveled 140 miles south before coming down and landing in another little girl's front yard. That little girl grabbed the balloon and read the note on it. It said, "Please return to Laura Buxton." But she was confused because her name was Laura Buxton. So she takes the balloon inside and shows her mother. Her mother looks at it, reads the note, and was amazed, so she decided to call the phone number and tell the other family about the amazing coincidence. So eventually the two families decide to meet. They each drive halfway and meet in the middle. That's when things get really interesting. Not only did the girls share the same name, they also had the same age, they looked and dressed similar, they both owned 3-year-old chocolate labs, they each had a gray bunny rabbit, and they both had guinea pigs, which they each brought to the meetup completely unplanned. Now how's that for coincidence?
Amazing, right? I love those kinds of stories. And there are many more like them as well. And if we are living in a real world, how could so many of these stories occur? It doesn't make sense unless we conclude we're living in a simulation. I just want to address a couple of things. One is, yes, I do own other clothing and I'll be switching it up from here on out. Number 2, do you like these reaction style videos from me, or would you rather me stick to the regular format? Depending on what you say, I'll either scrap them or add them to the lineup, so be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, check out this video right here that I just posted. It's an incredible conversation I had with ChatGPT, part 1. It came out in December. I made it private, but you know what? It's public again. See you soon.
Run wild, get tangled in the sheets.